Hi there, I'm Dr. Suzanne Bechtel, a passionate legal educator dedicated to making legal studies clear, practical, and even a little inspiring. On this channel, you'll find a growing collection of videos designed to help you prepare for the Certified Paralegal exam. It covers key topics, breaking down complex concepts, and offering study tips that actually stick. If you're looking for a deeper dive, check out my Teachable School, where I offer structured courses, interactive tools, and exclusive resources to support your journey towards certification. Watch this video to the end and you'll find a coupon code for a discount. Don't forget to subscribe and explore the playlists. Your success on the NALA CP exam starts here. Now, before we move on to the lecture, there are two important disclaimers. First of all, this is not considered legal advice. Everything shared here is designed to support your learning journey. Also, I am not a lawyer. This course is designed to help you understand the concepts of the exam. Hello. In this second lecture, we're going to talk about bankruptcy law and where to find it. We'll look at the Bankruptcy Code, see the difference between the universal and the operative chapters. The federal rules of bankruptcy procedure and official forms will be explored. Bankruptcy law cases will be explored, and where to find them, that is. And we'll look at some secondary authority available. So authority is legal authority. It can be primary or secondary. You have to keep in mind what you know from legal research and writing courses or learnings, experience, etc., that we have primary authority and we have secondary authority. And primary authority may be mandatory or persuasive. Secondary authority is simply useful in understanding primary authority. Primary authority includes federal and state constitutions, federal and state statutes, federal and state administrative agency rules and regulations issued pursuant to statutory authority, and federal and state court case law. And the Bankruptcy Code is a primary authority, and we look at this from two angles in this lecture. One is there are universal chapters of the Bankruptcy Code. And the Bankruptcy Code is located in Title 11 of the United States Code, or in this case, I've cited to the United States Code annotated. The Chapter 1 are general provisions, and these provisions are for definitions. And I'm going to recommend that you go to Chapter 1 and study those definitions for this portion of the exam. Definitions are a wonderful way of improving your understanding of the rest of your thinking and analyzing, etc., as you read and as you learn and as you apply. So this would be a great choice maybe for some flashcards or something. Chapter 3 of the Bankruptcy Code is about case administration, how we commence a case, who's involved, the cast of characters, etc., how the estate is administrated, and the administrative powers. We'll be looking at these in more detail as we navigate this course. Chapter 5 is exclusive to creditors, debtor, and the estate. And here we look to the creditors and their claims, the duties and benefits the debtor enjoys from the bankruptcy and the estate itself. The operative chapters are those that speak to, and obviously they're all odd numbers, right? So the even numbers, let's go back to that slide. I'm sorry, they're all odd numbers, excuse me. So the odd numbers that you see starting with Chapter 7, they're the operative chapters, and they're the chapters that discuss the chapter of the bankruptcy that a debtor is filing under. So Chapter 7 is a liquidation effort, and to file a Chapter 7, the debtor must be insolvent. And this is part where the means testing comes about in BAP CPA. Excuse me. And most filings in the United States are individual Chapter 7s. We'll look at some of that, those statistics here as we navigate through this course. It's the only operative chapter that has no plan because it's a straight liquidation and distribution type of case. And Chapter 9, on the other hand, is an adjustment of debts of a municipality. 11 is a reorganization of business. The debtor in possession is a trustee will be appointed in many cases, but the debtor in possession is a new name that you'll see. Chapter of notice for many business, it's available to individuals, and the debtor can reorganize or liquidate under a Chapter 11. Chapter 12 is for family farmers or fishermen with regular annual income, and it was one that was added in 2005 under the BAP CPA. Chapter 13 is another operative chapter, and Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 are the areas that you'll explore probably a little more in depth in this course, but we do cover the other chapters a little bit as well, enough to inform you to prepare. Chapter 13 is available to individual debtors and their spouse. So a corporation or a partnership is not eligible for Chapter 13. Chapter 15 is ancillary and other cross-border cases. These are unique circumstances that apply in Chapter 15. Now we're going to look at the Federal Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure that guide us. The Federal Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure replaced the Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure that were in effect in 1991. So in 1991, the Federal Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure took over, basically a renaming. They're issued by the United States Supreme Court. They take effect 90 days after the Chief Justice reports them to Congress. And these are procedural rules, not substantive rules. You can think of the code as something that is a substantive. The Federal Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure are divided also into different parts, and there are 9 parts of it. We'll start here with parts 1 through 3. You can see that when you get to the rules, they're using Roman numerals. So that's a helpful pointer for you. Part 1 helps us understand how to commence the case and what happens with the petition in order for relief. Part 2 will discuss the officers and administration, types of notices and meetings, examinations of debtors and others, elections, attorneys, and accountants as well. Part 3 are claims and distributions to creditors and equity interest holders, and also covers Part 3 the plans of those chapters that require plans. Parts 4 through 9 are listed here. Part 4 will cover the debtors and the duties and benefits. Part 5 will cover the bankruptcy courts and clerks. Part 6, collection and liquidation of the estate. Part 7, adversary proceedings. Part 8, appeals to the District Court of Bankruptcy Appellate Counsel, also BAP or BAP. And Part 9, general provisions. Official bankruptcy forms are an important aspect of bankruptcies. They're prescribed by the Judicial Conference of the United States and are revised from time to time. They're located at the uscourts.gov site. You can take a look at them. Important to get to know these forms. There are procedural forms located there and instructions on how to follow the official forms. Local rules are also important. The Federal Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure authorize the District Court, U.S. District Courts, and bankruptcy courts to write their own rules and issue standing orders to implement the code and the Federal Rules of Bankruptcy Procedure. So anytime you are working in bankruptcy, you should check the local rules. The local district court rules are those that are made by specific district courts. Okay, so we're not in the bankruptcy court because, cases Cases are referred from the district court to the bankruptcy court. It's just a technical what's happening here. The bankruptcy court has exclusive jurisdiction, but the bankruptcy court is part of the federal district court system. So realize that they work in tandem with each other, and there's some situations where you'll see the United States district court is involved. But the review of the bankruptcy court decisions and appeals of the decisions of the bankruptcy judge are also handled here. Local rules are also found on the court's website, the local website. So each bankruptcy court will have its own set of local rules. Local bankruptcy court rules and forms. Oh, ouch! Forgot my knee. Hit something. The rules, forms, standing orders, etc. can be found on the website of the bankruptcy court. Next, we'll look at the structure of the bankruptcy court. There is a need to make sure, for your understanding of the laws, that how this works. We've got the U.S. Supreme Court at the tippy top. The United States Court of Appeals is below that. The District Court or Bankruptcy Appellate Panel, BAP, are hierarchically below the United States Court of Appeals, and below that are the United States Bankruptcy Court. So if you were to look at this in a class not related to bankruptcy law, it would just not include that lower portion of the pyramid here. So nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is the addition of the United States Bankruptcy Court, which sits at the bottom of this system, but where the most of the business takes place. Bankruptcy case reporters will have that primary authority, and this lists the different locations where you can research primary authority and what type of service they might be. Some are loose leaf, some are not. Of course, all of this probably is located in Westlaw. If you have Westlaw or Lexis Academic, probably does too. Secondary authority, these are what discuss the law itself. So keeping in mind, secondary authority is not mandatory or necessarily persuasive, but we do use secondary authority to better understand what we're doing. Your school textbooks would be another example of secondary authority. They talk about the law. So in the terms of secondary authority, there are treatises that are available. They're listed here. All of these came from Thomson Reuters, which is Westlaw. So, some review. The Bankruptcy Code includes universal chapters. They cover the case administration, debtor and creditor relations, and the operative chapters, such as chapters 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 15. Those are the universal chapters. The primary legal authority are constitutions, federal and state statutes, administrative rules, case law. Secondary authority helps us understand it better. Federal rules of bankruptcy procedure are issued by the Supreme Court and govern procedural aspects and divided into 9 parts, covering the commencement, administration, claims, debtor duties, courts, liquidation, adversary proceedings, and appeals, which we'll cover later in the course, and general provisions. Bankruptcy forms and local rules are an important aspect, as already discussed. Official bankruptcy forms, they're prescribed by the Judicial Conference. They're available online. Local rules are authorized for district and bankruptcy courts to implement the Bankruptcy Code and federal rules. These are published in rules, forms, standing orders, and guidelines on websites of the courts. And the structure in the case of court structure and case reporters obviously go hand in hand together. The system includes the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, district courts, bankruptcy appellate courts, and bankruptcy courts. And the key bankruptcy case reporters include the ones that we discussed in the previous slide, like the West Bankruptcy Reporter, etc. And finally, our last slide, secondary authority. I won't repeat any of this, but there are plenty of those to help aid in our understanding of bankruptcy. Thank you, and please proceed to the next lecture. I hope you got some good information from this video lecture. Don't forget that I have a Teachable school account. Here is the address for that, mayananda-s-school.teachable.com. The name of my school is Mayananda. And also there's a coupon here for you to save some money. And finally, good luck on the exam. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.